You're listening to DraftKings Network.
Welcome to the Big Suey, presented by DraftKings.
Why are you listening to this show?
The podcast that seems very similar to the other Dan Le Batard podcast.
I'm sorry, I'm not going to apologize for that.
In fact, the only difference seems to be this imaging.
I have been tempted in restaurants just walking past tables to grab somebody's fries that if they're just there. That hasn't happened to you guys?
I've done it.
And now, here's the marching man to nowhere, Fat Face, and the habitual liar.
Can you play the sound for me, please, of Tyreek Hill talking about Patriots fans?
On a Sunday night. Oh, it felt tremendous, man. Those fans are, some of the worst fans in the NFL, and I'm gonna stand on that, man, because they are real nasty, and some of the things that they were saying wasn't, I wouldn't say in church. So it felt great to wave goodbye to the fans, and I'll do it again. Bye.
A Patriots fan actually had, I think they're calling it a medical emergency that ended in death at the hospital. The Patriot fan experience, when you go into that place, Tyreek Hill is volunteering to you. Like, nobody asked him about what is that fan base, how do you feel about that fan base. He's volunteering that. And I just want to ask you guys, and I tried to do this yesterday, when you are that dominant, you know how unreasonable Heat fans are here, because 2010 through 2014 spoiled everyone in Miami. Now make it 5 times as long as that, where you're dominating football and you feel like everyone's coming after you on every Spygate situation because it is the world against you. And Bill Belichick looks up from the sidelines in what used to be dynastic, looks at opposing sideline when he used to have Brady and he could beat you with his guys no matter who was on the other sideline. And he looks back on his life and he says, and now I can't stop Van Ginkel. And now I've got no answers for Van Ginkel. I'll block a field goal in a way you've never seen a field goal blocked because I've got to win in the margins creatively.
But Van Ginkel.
Where did that guy come from? Because on the screen, you don't see him.
It is so funny. Tony, it is so funny that when that got blocked, I'm like, where'd that guy come from? Was he on the sidelines? Was he late getting into the game? How did they do that? And it's because they put a defensive player in motion to block a kick. If the Patriots had won that game, if that had been returned for a touchdown, we would be talking about Belichick's genius. Instead, you're 0-2, you can't stop Van Ginkel, and I've seen your son, you promoted him to linebacker coach. What are you doing? He does not look like a genius anymore, correct? Spiking the challenge flag.
The aura has run away from Bill Belichick, and Tom Brady took it with him and isn't giving it back. And Belichick, he's famous for taking away what the other team does best. He sort of did that. Tyreek Hill had 5 catches for 40 yards. So what happens? Raheem Mostert happens, and the defense happens, and there's more than
Mike McDaniel happens.
That's what it was for me. It was him being able to show, like, okay, Belichick, you're going to take this guy away? Well, we could just do this.
Right, and New England famously takes away the edge, so they're running up the middle like you rarely see the Dolphins do. Half of Mostert's yards, maybe more than half, were coming between the tackles, and he was finding openings. And the offensive line, which is maligned justifiably and was missing their best blocker, Terron Armstead, they did a great job against Belichick's defensive line. So the Dolphins, they won both games in very different ways, which is indicative of a well-balanced team that might just be the best team in the league.
Did you hear the breakdown of that blocked field goal? Jake Bailey, our punter, who's our holder, used to be a Patriot. So people are saying that he has some tell of, like, he lifts his head, he takes a seg, whatever it was, that this guy was able to time, when this guy does this, I'm just going to take off and get the running start, and it paid off.
I think McAfee covered that very well yesterday. Van Ginkel will be joining us later in the show, but just as I gave the stat earlier, Stugotz, that Bill Belichick is worse than Wanstead, basically, which is fairly breathtaking without Tom Brady. His career record is 79-89. I want to give you what I believe to be the greatest stat in the history of football.
Wow.
Which is that Tom Brady never took a single snap in a professional football game in which his team was mathematically eliminated from the playoffs.
What?
That's crazy.
Really?
Not one snap in one game did he ever take where his team didn't have a chance to make the playoffs still.
Hard to believe.
It
really is.
But is it though?
No, it is.
But yes, I know. That's why I called it the greatest stat in the history of football. But also not that hard to believe because it's him and because he was always in that conversation. I hope that people appreciate, not just in Miami, what the Patriots did to the AFC East for 20 years. Like when all other dynasties pale in the modern era to what they did to the AFC East, which wasn't just always winning it, but always getting the bye that would get them to the Super Bowl because they had 2 home games because they were so much better. Stugotz, every night you're watching football, it's a 3-point game. Saints, Panthers, they're all close.
Right.
All these games are close. For 20 years, for nobody to challenge the Patriots in a reasonable way.
Wow.
It's an insanity. Well, what?
I mean, the Dolphins had that one year with Pennington, right? I mean,
It's 20 years of in a sport rich in parity, rules forcing everyone to be equal.
no, you're right. They were always 2 home games away from making it to the Super Bowl. 2 home victories away from making it to the Super Bowl every year.
But what I'm telling you, Stugotz, for people who thought it was overly negative, that I should simply be celebrating that they beat New England in New England, I found it funny and boring that game was decided by inches here and there. Belichick challenging for an inch on a spot. Gesicki flipping it very smartly to his offensive lineman.
It's a game of inches,
who
Dan.
doesn't get there by an inch. The idea that they're wrestling this alligator that lives now at the bottom of the division for the Dolphins to be able to be in a conversation where I'm not scared of Belichick. Before that game, I say the Dolphins should be favored. When the Dolphins are winning throughout, I'm saying is something weird Dolphin-y going to happen here, but I'm not saying the Patriots are going to strangle the Dolphins here. I'm saying, are the Dolphins maybe going to be poorly coached? No, I don't think so. Is their quarterback going to do something dumb? He dropped a snap, but I trust them. This is a totally different thing around here. We didn't have it last year. Buffalo's still the standard in the division because of what they've done the last couple of years. But the idea that I would be watching them play the Patriots and the king and his throne don't matter to me anymore.
But damn, what you feared was Tom Brady. Who fears a coach? No one's fearing Mike McDaniel. What they're fearing is Tua, Tyreek Hill, and Waddle.
There's no one else in the league. Stugotz, if you give me a coach, I would say to you, please give me the one thing Belichick has, which is he takes away the one thing you want to do. He takes it away every time.
Right, and he took it away, and the Dolphins still won.
I
the
understand.
one thing he had was Tom Brady.
But yes, and so what I'm marveling at is that over the last 20 years of dominance, them married together, they had all the winnings in all of the margins because their coach was going to do stuff like that to you. And when you fumbled that snap late, you were losing. Man, Stugotz, when people compare Tua and Herbert, have you seen this stat? Chris Cote said yesterday the Chargers are annoying. Here's why they're annoying.
I said I hate them, but yeah.
Right. But you lost the bet on them.
No, but yes, you said you hate them, but you also said they're annoying because they should be better. Why aren't they better? This is one of the reasons they aren't better. And this is a fairly staggering thing to say, given that we are comparing Tua and Herbert for the last 3 years. Herbert has had and blown 10 fourth-quarter leads. They're leading in the fourth quarter, and then they don't win the game. That's more than anybody since 2020. And that's why they're annoying. That's why Staley's in trouble. That's why Herbert is probably underregarded as winner guy. But at the end of that game, Dolphins-Patriots, Tom Brady beat you. You're backpedaling in your living room. You're so afraid of what Tom Brady. What do you mean Tom Brady has the ball? You can't tell me, even as Mac Jones went down the field, that you're going to fart your way to Gesicki flipping it to a lineman instead of Brady throwing it into the corner with something super precise. It really is something that I haven't been able to enjoy down here in 20 years. It's been 2 decades since we've been able to feel anything like what I'm talking about. Energy, passion. Expectation, fun.
It was an unusual feeling Sunday, which is I never thought the Dolphins were going to lose. Throughout that game, there wasn't a single time when I thought, oh, here it comes again. The Patriots are going to be the Patriots. They're home. They're going to win this game. Never thought the Dolphins would lose. And they're going to beat Denver.
I'm not sure, but I'm not sure that that's true. I'm thinking if I go next to him on the fumble on Tua and on the Sanders block, I think I might have found plenty of Dolphins.
I'm with Greg.
Fans.
I never felt for a second the Dolphins were going to lose that game. Now, if Tom Brady were playing, I would have went into it thinking the Dolphins were going to lose that game, and they would have.
Yeah, and Mac Jones isn't terrible, unlike Zach Wilson. He's not terrible. Yeah.
No, but I'm with my dad. Mac Jones hasn't been terrible these first 2 weeks.
And their defense, by the way, Belichick still has a defense. And they could finish a 500. They could be a 9-7 team. I don't think they will be, but they could be 9-8 rather. I keep forgetting about that extra game.
It's annoying.
Greg,
really
Chris said last week that he doesn't think that the Dolphins are going to lose on U.S. soil until Thanksgiving. Do you agree with that?
At Buffalo, October 1st.
Right.
Nope. Litmus test.
What channel's that on?
Whoa, wait a minute.
A litmus test.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Litmus test.
Greg Cote.
Yep.
I love
who
that.
soon will have an age-inappropriate haircut.
He better not.
Hold on a second. He has announced to America.
Correct.
That in October, the Dolphins are playing a litmus test game.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's on CBS, which Chris said they won't lose on CBS until December.
Right.
So.
I need to back away from the microphone.
What does a litmus test look like?
I'm glad I didn't say that word.
A Scantron? Like what?
No, it's a strip of paper.
It's a strip of paper. You dip it in something. It's
Yeah.
supposed to turn a certain color.
like a
Let's
pregnancy
see if
test.
it's acidic or basic.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
a pregnancy
exactly,
test?
Science
No.
101.
That can't be right.
Is it
Not like
lit
a
miss?
Litmus.
Yes.
Try and spell
LITMUS.
it.
Nah, I'm good.
Like Christmas, but lit.
sorry.
lit. I mean,
No,
you
that's
got it out
not
before
it.
you said it, Dan.
Thank you, Roy.
Thanks,
Roy.
It's just in
You're welcome,
keeping
Greg.
with him not listening to anything we're doing around here.
What'd you say? I didn't hear you.
I have in front of me something from Roger Sherman, who writes the following.
Who?
Roger Sherman.
Raj. Is it Richard? Or?
A Bills game, the most recent Bill game. In addition, this is from WBEN News Radio 930 AM in Buffalo. In addition to the 29-year-old drinking ahead of the Bills game, he was also under the influence of LSD, cocaine, and marijuana. Officials say they recovered the individual at approximately 30 to 40 feet below the surface. The fire company and AMS assisted in the recovery of the individual who fell in the hole at the stadium construction site. Sheriff John Garcia says this was a very isolated incident, and it took about 20 minutes to get the man out of the hole and to the hospital. Sheriff Garcia says many people at the scene watched the male take his clothes off and cover himself in human feces at a porta potty on site.
What?
There's a lot there.
Bills fans is what's there. Bills fans have been in that feces-covered hole for these same 20 years, right, with the Dolphins.
And the Jets.
What are you covering your hands and your head for?
Because I...
This is a new and unimproved Dan Le Batard show with the Stugotz. Gamble on by DraftKings.
Hey folks, it's Mike Ryan. How you liking this football season so far? It's our national obsession, and there's only one thing that can somehow make football better. Think about it. You know what I'm about to tell you. Miller time. That's right, that beautiful white can of just 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12-ounce serving is exactly what you need to supplement your football experience. From kickoff to the clock runs out, you just can't go wrong with Miller Lite right in your hand. It's the only light beer with a taste worthy of football. Because what's the point of having a beer if it doesn't taste like beer? There's so many competitors out there. The market is saturated. But Miller Lite is head and shoulders above everybody else because of that one thing. It's a light beer that tastes like beer. You get all the tastes you crave without the calories. Make Miller Time all season long. Make it Miller Time all season long. Get Miller Lite delivered right to your door. Visit MillerLite.com/Dan, or you can find it pretty much anywhere that sells beer. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces.
Don Le Batard.
He needs a wheelbarrow like Mike McDaniel, this dog.
Got a pair?
He's got a pair. Man, does he got a pair. My granddaughter sees his schlong.
What are you talking about?
And says, "What's that?"
No, she doesn't.
No, she did.
It is.
Your granddaughter.
My granddaughter saw his schlong in the kitchen, and she said, "What is that?
What is this, a game of Clue?"
And I
What's he doing in the kitchen?
I said, "That's what he pees with."
She saw his.
Okay.
How else am I going to explain it?
Stugotz.
It was a little extended. I don't know why he was so excited.
All right, very good.
Baby.
No.
Can we?
What
Can I
happened
take this
But
out?
it is a baby.
Anyway, he ate my couch.
This is the Don Le Batard Show with the Stugotz.
Billy, do you know if in the wrestling match with ESPN we were able to get our intellectual property of that whiteboard that for many days and months, and I think years, you were keeping track of how many days I could go without broaching race as a subject? Do you know if we were able to bring that scoreboard over?
It's funny that you mentioned that, and I'm wondering if this is the direction that you want this to go in, because I was thinking yesterday that we could use that board on another topic.
Deion. That
It
is
was
what
Deion. I was thinking just yesterday. I'm like, man, we should bring that board
I'm glad
back.
we're thinking alike here.
I think it might be in storage.
All right,
Let me
well,
ask.
let's see if we can find it and see how many days I can go without talking about Deion, because I was thinking
Days.
Days.
I drove home.
Start with an hour.
I drove home yesterday. I'm dead serious about this. I drove home yesterday laughing at myself because I have arrived at this particular inception. There is an initial overreaction, and then there is a reaction to that overreaction. I am reacting to the reaction to that overreaction, and then you, the audience, are reacting to my reaction to the reaction to the overreaction.
I think you may be doing Deion more harm than good, where people may be rooting against Deion because of you, not because of Deion.
Not us, you.
Okay,
all right, you and
fine.
Scott Pelley.
It ain't me, babe.
All right.
I was having dinner with my wife, not talking about work, and I just muttered, "Dan needs to stop talking Deion."
Yeah, and so let's see if we can get that out of storage and see how long I can go. I'm going to see if I can ignore all the stories.
They play good teams now, though.
No, I know. That's fine. We'll zig while others are zagging.
Oregon.
I think they're playing one of them, USC, at 9 a.m., right? They're playing because now we're doing noon football at 9 a.m. West Coast time.
I'm so excited for that one. I'm so excited for that one. In the morning?
I am going to have a hard time not talking about this, though, because you do understand this is going to escalate and get louder. And we're
All right, back at zero, guys.
We're already at Henry Blackburn getting death threats.
I was wondering if those came from you at first.
How dare you?
All right. I am announcing now publicly that I am willing. I don't know how long is the right amount of time to go without talking Deion, but I have realized the error of my ways on the way. I don't want to contribute to this man's downfall because people just hate the way the media is talking about him instead of the way that he's talking about himself.
Their game against Colorado State was the 5th most viewed game in the history of ESPN.
Audience, I know. I'm talking about the biggest story in sports too much. Sorry, my bad.
I got the under on whatever the over-under is.
I'll talk instead about the 36-year-old Grandma Bobert, and all of a sudden the moral arbiter on behalf of our country is Howard Stern somehow. That's a thing that's happened in apocalyptic America. Howard Stern trends for moralizing and casual sexism there while he's at it, telling her how to dress. I'll talk about that instead.
Yes, go ahead.
Instead of the biggest story in sports. The one that everyone's watching. So you're telling me that night did better than Florida, Tennessee?
It's the 5th most watched college football game in ESPN history.
Wow.
It was against Colorado State.
That has to be just
It was
the
10
start.
o'clock at night.
That has to be just the start of it, right?
Yeah, that can't be right because national championships are broadcast on ESPN.
Those games have been real bad. People aren't watching those anymore.
That's wild.
It was ESPN's most watched late-night primetime game ever.
There it is.
In the state of Colorado.
And before Deion Sanders, that had to be one of the saddest intrastate rivalries in college football, right? Nobody cared about Colorado State.
No.
Nobody.
Nope.
Billy, before the show today, and I'm sure many members of the audience would have liked to do this to me yesterday, because Billy was snorting with laughter, and this was an unusual thing, I thought, to find funny for him. Because he was walking around the room showing everyone a video of a guy who was being arrested, Stugotz, and he was handcuffed, and the people around him figured, okay, there is only so much harm this person can do because he's been detained, he's handcuffed, everything is under control. But they underestimated the thing you never want to underestimate, which is the headbutt.
Oh.
The headbutt as a weapon. One of my most feared friends one time was upset with someone in traffic. They were on their bike being reckless in front of him. He yelled at them. They both got out of their cars. The guy on the bicycle came toward him, arms gesticulating, loud and angry, and my friend just headbutted him and left him in the street. The headbutt as a weapon.
You never expect it.
No.
Put it on the poll, please, Juju, at Batard Show. Do you ever expect the headbutt? Because I want to go to this video. Billy, what is it about the video that you feel like the audience needs to know? I don't know if you meant this for air or not, but you were showing everyone this very excitedly.
Well, before we go to the video, I have questions for you because I wonder if the headbutt is actually an effective tool or not, because it's effective, but it also is self-inflicting damage. You know what I mean? Like, is it smartest attack? Not really.
No,
if you bang your head against someone.
Not correctly. Not done correctly.
If you know how to execute it, I think it's safe.
Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't know I worked with a bunch of headbutting experts, apparently.
I'm not, but I'm assuming the reason people use it is to, A, you're not expecting it, and B, if you know how to execute it, you could do it well without hurting yourself.
You do it the crown of your helmet, right? The crown of your head.
Well, this person, this person, as you can see on the video, was in Zuba's overalls, which is great. I think it was in Cincinnati. Had, I think, 3 or 4 security guards around him. Had his hands behind his back.
Oh! Jesus.
So then another patron of the game felt comfortable in talking S to this person, I would assume, and didn't expect the headbutt to come. And then you see, almost in a cartoonish fashion, the sunglasses stay in place while the body of the person that is headbutted falls to the ground. Very slowly.
How many hands are on this guy's neck after he does
dudes
this?
Choke him.
Let's backtrack.
Let's count the hands on the neck real fast.
No.
Here we go.
No.
And the state trooper right there.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Wow. I'm laughing at the guy wearing a Tyler Eifert jersey. I mean, still hoping that he's going to come back.
I want, please, to examine this as if we had a telestrator. And I want, even though most of the audience is listening to this as audio only, I would like to take them, instead of on a show where we watch television and they don't know what the pictures are, take them through the specifics of what we are presently airing. So we are doing a show for them and not for us. On this video, outside of the stadium, a thick man with facial hair who is white. And I wouldn't say muscled, but I wouldn't say fat either. I would just say a big dude. He is wearing Zubas that are tiger striped and has one overall on one shoulder, and his other shoulder is free. Police officers have his hands. Multiple police officers have his hands. And a guy comes over, and Billy described this part correctly, and starts talking shit.
I said S, but.
To this man, and that man is wearing sunglasses. The way that man goes down is one of the funniest things I've ever seen in a fight, because he is clearly staggered. This is how an actor would do it if he was perfecting how to go down comically funny, because the glasses do stay where they were. But the rest of his body staggers back with 4 disoriented steps back where he's going to his knees saying that really happened.
The glasses fly like 5 feet off.
No, but this is what Billy is saying. The glasses stay where they were. This person goes flying backwards from the headbutt in a way that then leaves him sprawled in orange shorts on his back on the concrete. You can't go down funnier than that as a reaction
Tyler
to
Eifert jersey.
this is but,
So great.
but Eifert was unaware. You have to understand. Eifert went from confidence. I can talk shit to this guy. He's handcuffed and 2 cops have their hands on him. I can talk shit.
It seemed like the safest place to talk crap to this guy is with 4 cops around him and his hand cuffed behind his back.
Right. But as I said earlier, you never account for the headbutt. I mean,
The headbutt E went down like a stunned heavyweight falling on the campus. That's what it reminded me of.
The thing, though, that is comedically perfect about it is how quickly he goes from arrogance to stunned disbelief.
Right.
And while falling is looking at the guy whose face is redder than it's ever been, saying, "Oh, you got me with that. You did that. I just went from super alert and ready to fight a harmless man to, oh, this is embarrassing. I'm looking at your face. You just got me perfectly with your forehead. You are like those headbutt expert executors, Tony, Stugotz, and Dan on the Levitard show."
I see something different every single time. There's a guy's reaction in a blue shirt, in a blue hat, that's like, oh, God, just
It's
horrified.
the perfect headbutt. You're right. There were 8 hands on his neck after that. Again, Zubas that are tiger striped.
Zubas work for Bengal fans, though. They
Look
do.
at the blue hat.
They
Look at
do.
the paws,
Yeah.
blue hat guy.
Right.
He's like, oh, my Lanta.
It's horrifying.
The guy afterwards also looks very, very proud of what he's done. Like, he looks like in like the 1990s, like Stone Cold getting taken out by cops, laughing at everyone.
Right.
State troopers.
You know, also, just because of the way, my understanding of the way that the law works and the legal system works, I feel like both of them can sue each other and win. Like, I feel like the guy that gets headbutted can sue him or sue the Bengals and win. And I feel like he has now been grabbed by his neck and he can sue someone and win something too.
If you are not subscribed to our YouTube channel, I am suggesting to you right now to please go find the stills of what these guys are talking about. Because the last one you just showed, where he is even the headbutter, is more red-faced because, at least in part, it's not just rage and that it was excellently executed. He has 8 hands on his neck. 8 hands.
And he's smiling.
He's
laughing.
Of course he is, because he perfectly executed the headbutt.
I want a new
Alcohol may have been
submission.
involved.
I want a new submission for reddest guy is the state trooper who's trying to hold the guy's neck. His red is tomato.
You don't understand, okay? This looks like Jake Paul. Bearded Jake Paul with a Cro-Magnon chin. And the grin on his face as he's being held by 4 hands, one of them wearing a watch, by the neck.
A watch.
And a cowboy hat, it looks like. Under a sign that says tenders.
He is screaming right there. I can lip read. He is screaming right there. Do you understand how well I just got you with that perfectly executed headbutt?
It's a bit wordy.
Yeah, but I take it up with him.
With hands on his neck.
Security guards' shirts are green, and they also say best, and I would argue not the best security here. If you allow a handcuffed man to headbutt someone, not a great job by you.
Billy, thank you for pointing out that me, Tony, and Stugotz know how to inflict headbutts in the height of violence.
It's the oddest take I've ever had.
Without injuring ourselves.
This episode of the Dan Le Batard Show with Stugotz is brought to you by KFC's new hot and spicy wings. Get fired up this fantasy season with 8 pieces of spicy, marinated, hand-breaded wings for just $4.99. Are you kidding me? They're a can't-miss call for whatever the fantasy gods throw your way. In the midst of a managerial hot streak, keep it rolling with KFC's new hot and spicy wings. Did you just assemble the worst lineup in fantasy history? Who cares? You can get 8 KFC new hot and spicy wings for $4.99 right now. Marinated in spice, hand-breaded to perfection. KFC's new hot and spicy wings are here. 8 pieces for just $4.99. It's finger-licking good.
Hey, it's Roy from the Dan Le Batard Show with Stugotz. U.S. Cellular knows how important your kids' relationship with technology is, and they've made it their mission to help them establish good digital habits early on. That's why they've partnered with Screen Sanity, a nonprofit dedicated to helping kids navigate the digital landscape. And for a smarter start to the school year, U.S. Cellular is offering a free basic phone on new eligible lines, providing an alternative to a smartphone for children. Start smarter with U.S. Cellular. Visit uscellular.com/built-for-us to find out more. Terms apply.
Dan Le Batard. Do you realize that for 30 minutes, now we might not have been doing good show, but we were doing show for about 30 minutes, and then you just decided to tell the story as if we were in the eating area.
Stugotz. So many refer to it as a kitchen.
Right.
Eating area.
Commissary.
Who calls it an eating area?
Nobody.
Nobody.
Right.
An eating area. What's the bedroom? The sleeping area? Let's hang on. I got to go to the urinating area. I'll be right back. Eating area.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz.
I know, Stugotz, that we hyperanalyze the holy hell out of this sport. Football dominates everything. And I just think that even with all our over-coverage everywhere, we have done a woeful job of sort of covering the Colts since Peyton Manning, where you go from Jim Irsay being caught with all sorts of pills and cash in his car as the owner of the team, and then he's trying to save Lolita over here in the Miami Seaquarium. And he is, one of these fun rich guy owners that all the other owners laugh at because he's a little bit out of control. And then one day he says, you know who my coach is going to be on my multi-billion-dollar industry here? I'm going to go right on ESPN. I'm going to get that bearded guy, Jeff Saturday, because he was a center.
Right.
And I'm going to let him run my organization.
Started off well.
Yeah, and from one day to the next, from ESPN to the head of the Colts, and now they've got the best running back in the league, but why do they want to use him or pay him? They won 4 games last year. Why? Because, again, Jeff Saturday was their coach. However, and look, no shade to none of the Colts. Andrew Luck bleeped that. By getting on with his life, they were going to have 10 golden years where he would have covered up every organizational incompetence.
But he decided football was dangerous.
That's right.
Yeah.
He was the sane one among us. He walked away. They haven't been interesting since, and now Anthony Richardson is going to kill his spleen trying to get 7 yards for Irsay.
Can't say he wasn't warned, though.
Yes, Trevor Lawrence said, hey, kid.
Yeah.
Trevor Lawrence. A lot of surface area on that face. Face of wisdom. A lot of wisdom to put on that surface area. Hey, kid, be careful out there. Violent game. Richardson, concussion protocol.
Yeah, I was going to say, he was his concussion. Spleen, liver was Colorado, so I think we may have to go back to 0 here.
I'm just saying this. No, spleen. I didn't say. No.
We're headed there.
No. I did not say liver. Spleen. Everyone's got a spleen.
It's always on your mind, Dan. That's the point.
You know who has a spleen? Deion. 0.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
That's unfair what you've done to me there.
No, the whiteboard knows.
Yep.
That used to be literally the blackboard, but it was a whiteboard. That's the race board?
What are we doing?
It's just a board.
The thing that I wanted to cover with you guys today is Jeff Saturday's back on my television. When did that happen? I just saw Get Up, and Jeff Saturday was back from being, again, I will say this again. Irsay said, I need a coach. Where do I get one? How about that guy on my television? All right.
Arizona State did the same thing.
Yeah, that's right.
Yep.
Well, it's a great move, people.
And ESPN did the same thing. Welcomed him back right after he was fired.
But where's Mangini? Where is Eric Mangini?
It's a good question.
For many years, he was on my television. He was going to be Belichick's right-hand guy into eternity. He was going to be Shanahan before Shanahan.
I think I've seen him on that Carton show with Tim Hardaway.
No
He's
way.
back?
At one point. Maybe not anymore, but at one point he was on that show.
Jeff Saturday is back on ESPN. I don't know when that happened. And it made me think of Greg Cote saying there's been an update to Dadurday.
I'm happy to report that Dadurday is beginning to sweep the nation, by which I mean it has entered the Gill household.
It's true.
I mean, this is so, I'm so honored.
Explain to people what Dadurday is in the event that they weren't listening last week.
To your every word.
I mean, Dadurday, patent pending, is my invention
It's not pending.
Essentially a day of help and gratitude for the older generation. It's a day when sons and daughters come together and say, Dad, you're getting a little up in years. You need some help. What can I do for you? You've done for me my entire life. Now, what can I do for you? Need me to go to Home Depot and buy 50 bags of mulch? Done. Need me to plant a couple of bougainvilleas on the east side? Done. What else do you need, Dad? Let me buy the pizza for lunch. I got that, Dad. Dadurday.
You're not even buying the pizza?
Well, it's Dadurday.
We'll negotiate that.
Yeah.
It's Dadurday.
Chris, did you indeed show up and do the work that you wanted to give to lawn men?
Well, it has. Yes, I offered to
Instead
pay
of bonding with your father.
Right. My brother would show up, and I would pay 2 people, so my dad would be getting 3 people.
That
for the
ain't
price
happening.
of-
That's not Dadurday.
That's not Dadurday.
I can hire somebody myself.
It hasn't been scheduled yet, to answer your question. So I haven't not done it, but it hasn't come up yet.
Okay,
so.
the bros need to get together, come up with a date. I'm available most Saturdays, as long as UM's not playing a big home game. I'm
But
available.
does Dadurday have to be
So
on,
every Saturday.
on a Saturday? The Dadurday, in
For
order.
the sake of the name, yeah.
Okay, I didn't know whether Dadurday could be any day.
But every
Dadurday.
day, every day ends in day. But I
No,
guess
it's the day that Greg wants.
Yeah,
right.
but Sunday would
Yes.
be Dad Day.
Done
You know.
day.
It doesn't rhyme the same.
Dad-
way.
Mum Day.
Yeah,
You could do
Dadurday.
things about
Dadurday.
Mum, yeah.
Mum Day. That's right. After the next day, we can celebrate Arlene on Mum Day.
Mum Day.
But that would work
Mum
better
Day.
on Monday also, maybe.
Right.
No, that's Sunday.
Okay,
S-O-N.
my wife doesn't need to be celebrated the way I do.
Whoa!
Believe me. I mean, she's celebrated already. Believe me.
Every day by you.
Well, by me and by her entire
Billy,
staff.
how did Dadurday infect your home?
Well, so I went over this weekend to my dad's
Staff.
house, and he said, you know what, I was listening to the show. I really like this Dadurday idea.
Thank
I
you.
have a couple things that I think you and your sister can kind of help out with. And then I quickly realized that Dadurday, which, by the way, doesn't seem to work the way Greg previously described, where the children go up to their parents and say, what can I do for you? Dadurday seems to work like this. The dads have the lists of all the things that they need to get done that they don't want to get done,
Yeah.
that they're trying to get their children to do for them.
Hello.
And I quickly realized that my dad's Dadurday would be like Dadder Month. Like, this is a very long list of things that I don't think I can accomplish within a day.
How many people in our audience understand that at some point when you became 7, 8, 9 years old, you became cheap labor for your parents?
Not only did you become cheap labor, but you do the work, and then they're like, "You did it wrong. You did it wrong the whole time. I got to fix the whole thing now." That's your fault for hiring an 8-year-old.
If you are teaching a 6, 7, or 8-year-old to give you 10 good years of indentured servitude, really, we call it family. It's a bit like slavery.
Well, I don't know if I'd go that far.
Those are your words.
My words.
Greg called the family his staff. I mean,
He did call it his staff, and once it gets unreasonable, once you change the power structure so that he's in control, the power's going to get abused.
I don't know if this has affected my upbringing and resulted in like what I've become today, but my father has told me on multiple occasions that they had me so that I could change the channel, and then the remote control was invented.
It's one of the best perks of being
So
a
essentially,
parent.
I was told you were useless.
Graceland, can you go get that water bottle on the counter? They love doing things.
That's right, and then they don't. And then when they get to be
They get older, they don't, right? They hate doing
no
things.
longer like doing things for you. That's the problem. I got a ramshackle mailbox in my front yard. On
His
a TV,
mailbox sits on a TV dinner stand.
which is like
That seems not to code. That seems illegal.
the worst.
Got to do what you got to do, though.
Okay, that's
What if it's
another-
windy?
Hey, that's another thing we're going to take care of on Dadurday. Why? Because for 3 years, the poor mailman has had to reach over a decrepit,
Wait a minute.
waterlogged.
Wait,
It's not his fault, Dan. It's his
they've been on the
staff's.
TV
I mean,
dinner table for 3
hold
years.
on a
Yeah,
second.
I need help replacing
Hold
my
on.
mailbox.
you need a new staff.
This is the
getting
most
it.
trailer park thing I've ever heard.
What's wrong with trailer park?
Respectfully, yeah.
Are
what's wrong
you
with trailer
kidding
parks?
me?
What are you doing?
Are you kidding me?
No, I wish I were. You know, in my dreams, one of my sons is calling me on the phone going, Dad, I've been noticing that mailbox out front. You know what? I want to come over tomorrow. I'm going to bring a bag of sacrete, and we're going to take care of that issue.
Sacrete.
We're going to take care of that. I got a shovel. We're going to take care of it. Don't you worry. Christopher and I are going to take care of it. Michael and I are going to take care of that for you, Dad.
Least they can do.
That's what I'm
A
thinking.
pointed nose shovel, Greg, correct? Some people don't know that.
Yeah,
the
you
flat
wanna-
shovel is for laying things out. You need the pointed nose so you can go down into the dirt.
Exactly, and the main thing you got to do is you got to dig out that big ball of concrete that anchored the previous post.
Sometimes you run a jackhammer to break that up, Dano.
You know what? I could use a jackhammer. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No, I'm sorry. I'm going to ward that off for a second. I need to stop. We will get to the bucket of
We
death.
just look ridiculous right now because
I
it's
know.
very dark in here.
You know what? It's fine. It's fine. We're going to look ridiculous
We
for a
look
while.
like Greg's mailbox.
How
Well,
great would it
this-
be to be a
this-
guy named Jack Hammer?
That would be great.
You know?
Oh, God.
I would love that. What a manly name.
Every Hammer family does a
Jack Hammer.
disservice to not name their child Jack.
I know, right?
Or Jackie Hammer.
No, Jack Hammer is
Not so
better.
much. It's got to be Jack Hammer.
Yeah.
Sounds like a PI.
It does.
Put
it
it
can
on
be anything as Jack Hammer.
Or a PS.
Why is it a PS?
Jack Hammer, PS, porn star. Anybody?
You were just hoping it kept moving there.
Jack Hammer's a great name for a porn star. Sorry, guys.
It's unfortunate
for you that Dan stopped.
It's not bad. I know,
Go there.
Tony. It's okay. I'm sorry I required the explanation, but it would also be a good name for a porn star. Put it on the poll, please, at Le Batard Show. Jack Hammer, action star or porn star?
Jack Hammer is.
Yeah, he's either.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Right.
But
Can we keep this lighting for Greg's haircut?
yes,
Be a good NFL coach name as well.
this is what we need to do. Greg's haircut is coming up. Put it on the poll, please, Juju. Would you trust your head coach more if his name were Jack Hammer?
Hell yeah.
You would. Hell yeah.
The lighting in here is red. The Reaper is swampy because he is wearing that outfit for too long.
Or she.
Or she. Or they. Thank you, Billy.
Always here to help.
It is. That's what I think about you all the time. The room is red, and they're forcing me to get to the grid of death, the bucket of death, which I hate and has been a disaster for 3 years, and nobody respects the rules, and now we've got more people than ever playing it. But I'm going to put it on pause for a second because I need to understand for how long you have had a TV dinner tray on your mailbox, and I need to know all of the details on this and why you are so appalling.
Well, it's been a few years. I bought a replacement mailbox, which is leaning in my garage. I bought a beautiful 4x4. I cut it to length. It's ready to go. Truth be known, I actually have a bag of cement in my garage, although by now I have a feeling it's solid and I need another one. But basically, I just need the manpower. I need the manpower to replace this mailbox, okay, because it ain't going to get done itself. I refuse to hire somebody to do it. My wife won't do it. You know, she doesn't lift a finger around the house. Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Neither do you.
She does so much.
Neither do you.
Oh,
You
I do. No. I have a green thumb, and you know it. And I do plenty of work around the house when it comes to yard work. Okay, I don't mow my lawn.
This is a new and unimproved Dan Le Batard show with the Stugotz. Gamble on by DraftKings.